G'day friends, welcome to your monthly look at what's up for Collage Club. This is July 2022 and I'm excited to get into it. We have 7 US letter size pages here, all printed on online labels, glossy label paper I should say. It's not photo paper. I use it to print a lot of my photos and also my Collage Club sheets. And then the Silhouette Portrait 3, that's why it's a little bit smaller and you can see the registration marks. I use the Kiss Cut and make basically everything just a huge sticker sheet, and that's how I get them used in my journaling pretty easily without fussy cutting and without glue and blah blah blah. I'm sure you've heard the speech before. Let's get into it. Okay, 7 sheets because my birthday month, July, 7th month of the year. I'm excited to have 2 extra bonus sheets for you this month, and there's a lot in here. There's lots of stuff from my travel journal that I'm starting to work on. I'm starting to put that like a little series on YouTube, so be sure to check that out if you want to see the travel journal come together. These are all the illustrations that I managed to do whilst I was on the trip, so I wanted to include that because I think that's a good starting point. Anything else I get inspired to do, hopefully that'll show up in Collage Club in the months to follow. But yeah, this is a lot of my stuff from the trip. We went to Paris and London, so you might see some familiar things here or some interpretations of familiar things. These are some Parisian buildings near Notre Dame, and that's Notre Dame. This is the Dior. This is Christian Dior's storefront, the facade. This was, I wanted to include this because it has a lot of information in there, and it's actually the whole set of supplies I took with me on my travel. It's the page that I made, my little swatch page in my journal. So that actually has the name of a lot of the stuff that I took and all the colors and everything. So if you actually wanted to know what I packed, there's a whole spread there. These little stars are inspired by Christian Dior. There's a little story about the star. Like he found a little star on the road, and I think it was a part of a sign or something, like a building. And essentially, it has something to do with the backstory of like how he started Christian Dior. So I thought it was really fun. It was really cute. So I have the actual star in here as well. That's the photo of it from the Dior exhibit that we went to. So that's the real one, and then I have my sketch version in here. I use them to fill a lot of the little gaps throughout Collage Club. There aren't many, but put a little star in there just so you don't feel like you're wasting any parts of your paper. This is a little metro ticket from France, a little metro sign. I really had a thing for the Parisian rooftops, all the little ornate kind of decorative elements. So that's a little sketch I did. We went and saw Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club in London. It's a revival of Cabaret. Here come the sirens. Sorry, windows open. Summer, it's hot. Hello. Sorry, I'm gonna let them pass. You can't tell, I live near a busy intersection, so it's all happening here. All right, this is Disneyland Paris, the castle I sketched as we were waiting for one of the shows. And yeah, like I said, we went and saw the revival of Cabaret. I don't know, is revival the right word? It's like they remounted it, and it's a new version of it. I guess, yeah, let's call it a new version. So I was really inspired by that kind of 20s, 30s makeup look. So there's some more of that as well. Let's go to page 2. I think that's everything. These are sketches I did inspired by our trip to the Dior gallery. A lot of these are just studies of Christian Dior's actual sketches. They had all of his original, well, not all, they had tons of his original sketches up, and I thought I was just so inspired. If you don't know, I wanted to be a fashion designer before I was anything. I wanted to, I kind of started fashion illustration when I was in high school, pardon me, and a lot of it I still use as, you know, a basis for what I enjoy about illustrating when I do art journaling and everything. So love the fashion, and I love fashion photography and fashion magazines. It's just a whole world of whimsical kind of imagery, and I love it. Anyway, these were some of the things I just did based on that. This is not my favorite drawing, but it has a tie-in to one of our Instagram live streams that we did like back at the start of the pandemic. So I wanted to include that just for anyone who remembers when we did that as the Dorothy Dress. This was one that was based off a photo, pardon me, and then there was a little headdress that had a little bird flying on it that I saw in part of the exhibit, so I kind of merged those together. The iconic new look, had to put that in there. A bow, just Dior, and then I did this illustration. This is one of Christian Dior's illustrations that I did a study of and then just kind of painted it in quickly and put a Parisian skyline in the background. Very loose watercolor interpretation, but I love it. Next, on page 3, I think this is kind of the end of the travel journal stuff. Yeah, it is. This, again, Cabaret, the Kit Kat Club. I want to do so much more. Steve got the program. I did all this from memory, but now that I have the program, I can actually see some of the photos, and they're just, the costumes and the art direction of it was so I don't know, it was so interesting to me. I'm not going to say it was like glamour. There was parts of it that was glamorous, parts of it that was very modern, and parts of it that was interesting. Like they had a kind of maroon, burgundy, and light teal color palette going on with one of the things, and I was just so captivated with what a strange color combination that was, but how it popped on the stage. It was really impressive. So love that. Probably going to do more of that. Again, more of that. Kit Kat Club, Cabaret, Moira Rose, and Pinocchio. This is the facade, the rooftop of the Pinocchio ride at Paris Disneyland. Disneyland Paris, sorry, I should say. And that was a photo I took. I wanted to give you some kind of full pages that I did in my journal. So that's why you've got these long spreads. These are actually full traveler's size notebook pages. And I wanted to give you just like a whole scan of it. So these are some of those. This is a tag from actually years ago. This is from when I first started Tag Tuesday, a bit of a throwback. I found that tag the other day. It popped out of one of my journals, so I just scanned it, put it in there, and I have the original in my new planner. I have a Hobonichi Weeks that I'm using now. Where is the tag? There it is. Love that. This is my Kyanite Genuine Daniel Smith watercolor, and I was using kind of this vermilion pencil at the time, and just a buff titanium, and I thought it was just such a beautiful color palette. I did a bunch of tags like that. I should probably try some more of that. And a photo I took of the balloons at Disneyland. I just thought it was really fun and special. I know I've got some Disney fanatics out there, just like me. Next page. This was from Art Snacks for June 2022. Wanted to give you that because I was really happy with that little fairy garden. A lot of this is from Encanto, or we did an Art Journaling the Magic workshop, Home Sweet Casita, which was kind of themed around Encanto. So I wanted to give you some of that I did. I did TikToks of making these fashion illustrations of Isabella and Dolores, and there's the house, the magical house. Why am I forgetting everything? And the toucan, that was from that as well. It was a bit of a study. There's actually little houses floating around on some of these pages as well. Like, yeah, you can see these little houses. That's also a part of it, but they're just kind of simple. This was from my trash journal, my garbage journal. I don't know if I've told you about this. I think I have. I'll grab it. Basically, I collect so much junk, and it usually has nowhere to go. So I started this, I call it a trash can journal or a garbage journal, and I would just throw it all in here. It doesn't mean everything in here is garbage. It just meant that it just didn't have a home, and it needed a home quickly, just needed somewhere to live, and this became the most haphazard, crazy, full, chunky journal I've ever had. I love it. I'm actually already on my second garbage journal, but some had illustrations in here, and like this was almost, for me, working through this journal was kind of crazy, because even if I had just like the backing of a sticker sheet, I would just open this up and just smack it down. Or if I accidentally had misprints of stuff, I would put it in here and smack it down. And then sometimes I would go and draw something in a blank piece of paper, and here, this is actually the backing of a sticker sheet and another one of the stickers from that I had a misprint of, and this was something I just laid over the top of it, and then I started coloring it in the inside. So it's like a very, here you can see the other one here, it's a very random, intuitive, just, it's like a journal where if you just put everything in and you didn't care what happened to it, kind of like a smash book, but I think people with smash books kind of scrapbooked them or did like really nice aesthetic things to them. No, this was absolute garbage mama, and I love it. Like I said, not everything in here is garbage, but a lot of it is. And it was really fun. I really loved it. Look, scribbling everywhere. Like, if I just felt like, even right now, oh, the cats are going nuts. If I just wanted to grab a pen and I was just mindlessly doing nothing, or I wanted to test something, or I just had a random piece of junk that I needed to put somewhere, it's all going in here. So yeah, that's my first garbage journal, and that's where this came from. So that's why it looks a little funny, because it literally, it's kind of competing with trash there. But this was also from the Art Journaling the Magic. It was the head of a slinky dog that I did. I rarely draw animals, so I thought I'd put that in there for you, just in case you have a dog. You want a dog. This is Rapunzel. This, actually, I went searching in the vault this month. I went back to 2015, this is before I even knew what art journaling was, and I used to just draw illustrations and just kind of keep them nowhere, but I had a big spiral ring bound, is that what they're called? Yeah, spiral notebook, like a planner, a daily planner, and when I was working on Disney Cruise Line, like a lot of the drawings that I would do, I would end up just gluing them in the planner. So I didn't really know, but I was kind of art journaling before I knew what it really was. And yeah, I did a whole series of these cartoony looking illustrations, and I found the journal the other day and I was flicking through it and I thought, oh, there's some stuff in here I would actually share, even though it's super old. Even this is back from the orange grab bag days. Do you remember those? Like 2017, I think. So yeah, I wanted to put some vintage in there. I felt like it was kind of a nice throwback. Here is, what page are we on to now? I don't know if this is the actual order of the pages. I think this is 5. Yeah, this is 5. More of those stars, like I said, just put them in random places. This was from last month. I gave you all of that kind of journal page with that color palette, which ended up being the color palette I took in my travel journal. This was the illustration, the watercolor illustration I did based off of that collage video. So there's a video on YouTube where I use the Collage Club stuff from last month and I create this kind of collage piece, which I really loved. And then I illustrated it and watercolored it. So that's that there. And I really enjoyed that. This is a vintage piece as well. So is this and these. These are all, this is old study. This was one of the old Swatch dolls. That was from my old sketch planner. I don't want one of those because it is really big, but it was perfect for me at the time. Like, I'm really enjoying my new Hobonichi weeks. I have enjoyed downsizing because, you know, I've got my garbage journals now to kind of catch all. I guess what I'm saying is I always need a journal that catches all the stuff that has nowhere to live. And I used to do that in those A5 Hobonichis, but now one of them's like really chunked up. I don't know how much more I can do with that. And I have another one that I used for workshops. So those are kind of accounted for now. So now I do them in traveler's notebooks, but I kind of like changing it up all the time anyway. Sorry, ramble. Little houses. This is Walt Disney's house. I did this during Art Doing the Magic workshop as well. And a little study. This is a little Cinderella. I did this big mermaid. I was toying with the idea of doing mermaids so many times that there are just tons of mermaid drawings. I mean, normally there are tons, but specifically more recently there were tons of mermaid drawings that were like the start of me maybe doing mermaid or not. But yeah, I chose not to do it in the end. Good choice, I think, actually. And this is an Ariel, just a really kind of childlike Ariel. It's really big, actually. It's a full page, A5 page. But I just put it down there. It's a nice little corner piece. I like having these pieces that kind of fit into corners. Like I have one here as well. This one. These little, if you see like a little angle here, it's usually because I've drawn it on the edge or in the corner of a book. And I like those too, because I think a lot of the times if you're using these as decoration, they usually end up in the border, like, or at the perimeter of your page. So having two of those angles already cut out for you is kind of a nice way to just slot it in like a puzzle piece. Or you just stick it on there and cut off the edges anyway. Pardon me. Next, page 6, we have this. I did this for Art Doing the Magic for Wizarding Artist Society. These are my little ice cream goblins. And this I just did, I kind of did this from memory. And I was drawing something completely different, but then she looked like she'd be like fun to do in this kind of, call it top deck chocolate, you know, like milk chocolate with the white chocolate top. So I gave her this kind of chocolate, like top deck color scheme. I thought she looked really beautiful, so I put that in there. More of the little houses from the workshop. This one's vintage as well. She's actually a genie, and it's a whole page, but I just pulled her head because I thought her head was really interesting, and she's got that like really fabulous kind of geometrical face going on. This was also from Art Snacks. This was kind of my little sample, my little test before I did the whole Art Snacks challenge. I really liked this. And this is a little Tinkerbell study from, I don't know, that one's from maybe a couple of years ago. This was an old quote from a couple of years ago as well. I found another old journal that had some stuff in there that I wanted to pull, and sometimes it depends. I can go through the same journal and want to pull some things for some months because they stick out to me, and then other months I'll come back to the same journal and find all the other things and I'll think, why didn't I pull this last time? So it's kind of mood-based, I guess, but this is a quote. I know it sounds really nasty, but it makes me laugh, and it's from Smash, the TV musical. I really love Smash. I think they're making it an actual musical. But I was asking Steve, I was like, are they doing Bombshell the musical, or are they doing Smash the musical, which would mean it'd be a musical about putting together a musical with the musical inside of it. Very meta. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Okay. These were some studies, and I just really loved this kind of Picasso-esque look. and I did a few of those. These actually took me well, these two didn't. These were kind of my first preliminary sketchy studies. And then this one is nice and big, and it kind of took me a long time to do. I would rarely spend that much time doing anything, but I had a really nice, relaxing time doing it. Sometimes, I've said this to people who do my workshops as well, sometimes I really catch the urge to be very neat, very clean, very precise, very intentional, and then other times you see me scribbling over something and you can still see all the working lines. So, I mean, you really never know what mood you're going to catch me in. That's what I like about Collage Club. There's a whole variety. And then the last page, and yes, I could have just kept some of these pages for next month and been ahead, but it is my birthday month, so I had to give them to you. These are from my 5-year Hobonichi and just from my other Hobonichis, just kind of random, I guess, Hobonichi sketches, because some of them are from my old A6 planners. These are Wednesday Addamses that I just absolutely love. And this is when Steve and I went to the Valentine's nights. I know, like, there's literally maybe not even one person that's going to want this. But it was in there and I think it's cute, so I'm putting it in there because I'm going to use it again. And these are from my Hobonichi 5-year. That was from my A6 planner, my little Hobonichi Avex, which, even though I've switched into the weeks, I'm still going to sketch in those. Like, these are sketches I just did because now they're just little sketchbooks. So I won't waste those, don't worry about it. I have a whole A6 Avec for the rest of the half of this year that I'm just going to make it a sketchbook. So, that should be fun. And it is kind of irritating to scan them and put them in here because I have to clean up all the edges and make sure there's no grids on the outside, just so that, and I could not do that. Like, I know I could just leave it, but it doesn't make nice cut lines if you leave any kind of mess or grain or anything outside of the images. And because every month I use my silhouette to cut all these out, it's kind of something I have to do for myself anyway. So yeah, that's the only downside to sketching in them. But I've tried to stop myself from, like, policing myself about how I go about the creativity just in case it might become something. Because for a long time I would, like, I'd just get the urge to do something. I'd have a book in front of me, I'd have a pencil or something, or like say I'd have a Hobonichi and I'd have a bright, like, fluorescent pink. And I would think, well, I'm going to go sketch something. But in my brain immediately, I would say, well, no, because there's the grid there, and if you like this, you've used a hot pink, and that's not going to scan properly, because fluorescents don't really pick up in the scanner. And so I would then get rid of that journal and then go and search for some more pens that would actually create. And then by that point, I've started introducing all of these choices, whereas the intuition that I just wanted to, you know, draw with the hot pink highlighter, I found myself kind of policing myself out of it just in case I might need to use that image for something. That's specifically a creator problem, but if you are someone that does, you know, content, I'm sure you're aware of stuff like that. I have made a conscious decision to stop doing that and just let it bite me on the backside when I go to do the scanning and the editing. But you know what? It's worth it because then I find myself creating a lot more freely by doing it that way, and it really isn't the most hassle in the world. I say it's more hassle to find the motivation after I've talked myself out of it than it is just to clean up a few rogue, you know, grids. So this is from my 5-year. This is when I did a whole week. I think I did a week. Did I do 2 weeks? I think it might have been a week of these Stampin' Illustrations. This was based off of Juno Birch, who I don't really follow, but I love the aesthetic of Juno Birch. I've seen some of his videos, her videos, their videos, I'm not quite sure. But it is really interesting. I just really love the aesthetic, and they're quite funny. This was from my Hobonichi A6 Avec, my planner. This was from my planner. This is a little test thing that I was doing, and I thought it was cute. I was testing it for a page in 10 video, and a merman. Probably one of the only times I ever really draw mermen. Rare that I do that. And this is from my 5-year as well. So, oh, and this was from my 5-year, but I needed to put this in here because this was kind of like my favorite outfit that I'd put together for my trip, and I documented it, and I wanted to put that in my travel journal. So that and that is just for me. Sorry that it's in your sheets. Maybe you could make up a story where that actually fits something you might want to journal, or just leave them on there. That's okay. So those are the 7 pages for Collage Club July 2022. Lots to play with in there. I know it's a lot. If you join, I just made an Instagram post for this, but if you join in July, you'll have April, May, June, July, because we're on a 4-month rotation, and that means there are 26 pages for you to have access to immediately. It's $5 per month for the subscription, and it's on Teachable. And I do put the silhouette files up there just in case you have a silhouette. And there are PNGs. They're not white transparent background PNGs. They're just a PNG version of the PDFs. Just in case you have your own cutting machines and you want to try and figure that out. But yeah, if I make a silhouette file, I usually put it in there just because I have it. It's no extra hassle for me to do that. And yeah, lots of people do that just so you can make these kind of sticker sheets, which is super handy to get them used. I've used more of these collage sheets this way than I have any other way. I do still sometimes fussy cut and glue, but if I can help it, I will absolutely print it on sticker paper. Glossy if I just want to be decorative, and if I want to be more mixed media and art journaling with it, I'll print it on matte just so that I can work on top of it. Pardon me. And yeah, like I said, 4 months rotation. So at this point, April, May, June, July, you can go and check the back catalogs. Anything that was from a previous month that is retired from the subscription is now on Etsy, and those are available for individual purchase for the month, so that each set for each month is available. And any other information do I have? You have a limited use license up to 100 handmade products for anything that you see in Collage Club. I believe that's all. Yes, I'll leave it at that. I was mentioning on an Instagram story, just in case, and this is absolutely not set in stone, but if I do continue with Collage Club in 2023, I was thinking about keeping it at $5 a month, but putting 3 sheets in instead of 5, because I have been doing this thing, especially like this month when I put an extra couple of sheets in there. It tends to be a lot. Like if you join right now, there are 20, I think it's 26 sheets to download. That's just a ton, and it can be very overwhelming. And I know each month it's kind of unrealistic to think that you're going to be able to use every single thing in here. So I was thinking about maybe next year putting together 3 sheets, and so it's a lot more practical for people to be able to, you know, use everything that they're downloading and printing. Of course, you can always download it and just store it in a library. Like I said, it's not a decision I've kind of, you know, made final yet, but it is just something I'm thinking about in my mind. And yeah, that being said, that is Collage Club. I hope you have a great time. I'm going to get started on some of my travel journaling so I can put that on YouTube, and I'll see you in one of those videos, hopefully. Alrighty, have a great day.